Susie. Skipper.
I know,
All
right?
right. It says we're live, everybody, and I'm sorry. It was Whip's fault again. Too many questions, come in late, and then have to repeat everything 4 or 5 times. So I'm sorry, but it's well worth the wait. I can tell you because we have Mitch Norton with us, and as you all know, he's with the East Tennessee Aquatics Club, and they've been around several years, and they're about to have a big spring event. And he is going to talk to us about that, but also give us an update on his hobby and his channel, and which is Scruffy City Aquatics. And I actually saw the video where you named that, so I'm going to ask you that question. I'll go ahead and start with that. How did you get the name Scruffy City Aquatics? That was a cool story.
Yeah, so I mean, when I
Well,
decided I was doing YouTube for a little while on like a personal channel, just sharing a little bit of my tanks. But the reason why I was doing that was to post it in other areas. And when I decided to actually like do a YouTube channel where I was chronicling what I was doing and having fun with it and maybe get a little more creative with it, I decided to create a channel. And as I was thinking about what would I call it? Would I just use my, would I just use my name? Would I come up with something? The first thing I thought of was Scruffy City because I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. Knoxville has the moniker Scruffy City, and that actually comes from the 1982 World's Fair. So back in '82, Knoxville was chosen to be the site of the World's Fair, and some people didn't like it. As a matter of fact, the Wall Street Journal did a piece where they talked about how it was a poor decision, should never have been made, shouldn't be there. It's a scruffy little city. Nobody will ever go. And Knoxville embraced the name, and that's just kind of who we are. We decided that, you know what, that was a pretty good name. We'll stick with it. So yeah, there you find it. Actually, what's funny is you find it being used more and more around town now. There's a few businesses that are using Scruffy City now, whereas when I started, I think there was only a couple. But yeah, that's where it came from. That's where the name comes from. I've been in Knoxville my whole life. I was born here, and so yeah, I just kind of embraced that. I thought it was unique, and it's been fun. I enjoy it when people are like, "Hey, are you Scruffy City?" Like, yeah, yes, I am.
Well, I had lived in Knoxville for about 2 years, working there at East Tennessee Children's Hospital as a nurse, and moved to New York, to Brooklyn. But a lot of that construction was going on. You were just a little kid, or were you even born then?
I was born in '82, so my parents went while I was being carried, so technically I was there.
Well,
But yeah.
I was already an RN and had been for several years. I was in my early middle 20s then. I was born in '55, so the interstate, you wouldn't believe all the work that went into preparing for that thing like 3 years before. But I flew back for that and rented a car. I said I had to live through all that construction, so I'm going back to Tennessee to go to that, and it was worth it. It was awesome.
And it's still a beautiful site. If somebody wants to go see it, they've recently restored the Sun Sphere, which is infamous from The Simpsons. The Simpsons visited Knoxville one time, and they found, I think it was like a wig store was what was in the Sun Sphere. There is no wig store in the Sun Sphere, but there are businesses, and there's a observation deck. So you can you got to pay something now. It used to be free, but you can give a donation or pay something. I don't know how much it is, and you ride up into one of the bottom levels of the Sun Sphere, and you can walk all the way around and see Knoxville, and with quite a bit of information about the city. So you got the Sun Sphere. The park is still there. The park's kept up. It's real nice. There's an amazing water feature there. That's a lot of fun. And then there's a convention center there too. It's really nice. A lot of big shows are there in the Knoxville Convention Center, which is on the fairgrounds. So it's a nice spot to still go visit.
That's not where Kenny had his event last year, is it?
No, that was over at the 75 Expo, which is over. So we've got I-40 and 75 actually meet here in Knoxville. They intertwine for a little bit, and the 75 Expo's not far from there at all. Real nice spot too.
It's a great drug hub, they say.
Yeah,
great drug hub. So what's going on with your channel and with your hobby, and what's going on with you?
Yeah, it's funny. We just had an ETAA meeting yesterday, and so normally we do the swap, our club swap the second week of the month in April and October. So we weren't planning on having a meeting, and then for various reasons, we ended up having to push it back to the 27th, which is the current date. I'm checking myself to make sure. Yeah, April 27th. And we realized, well, now we have a meeting date open. We don't have a speaker or anything. What should we do? So we decided to just have like a spring social, and we invited members to send in pictures of their tanks, and everybody who wanted to had an opportunity to do a presentation on their tank. Or tanks. A lot of people were like, "Well, I have 60 something tanks," and so it was a lot of fun. But in preparing for that, I realized I was like, "Wow, I'm really not ready to talk about my tanks right now because things such a it's such a every single one of them are such a mess right now." Taking pictures was fun because I stayed up till like 1 a.m. cleaning up the 75 to get some pictures, and then I had to wait until the morning because it was a mess.
Yeah, they let it all settle.
Yeah. So I've been in the hobby though for 12 years or so at this point. I had an aquarium when I was a little kid. My mom had an aquarium. It wasn't very big. I remember it being bigger than it must have been. We didn't have it for very long. She didn't have a lot of success keeping fish. But I do remember being, as a kid, sitting there and watching the tank and just really enjoying the tank. And so when we had kids, I was like, let's have a tank. So, we don't, at the time, we didn't have any dogs. We have a lot of allergies, so we don't have cats, things like that. So let's do fish. We're not allergic to fish. And so we got a 10-gallon tank. And what was kind of funny about that is when we went, I was excited, like I was like a kid in a candy store. I was excited about it. And we're walking around the store, and I picked up a bag of gravel that I liked. I was like, this is a nice size, nice color. I like it. And my wife was like, don't you think the kids should pick out the gravel? Meanwhile, my kids are pulling out that rainbow barf gravel.
Oh.
And I was like, oh no, with the princess colors and the purple and pink and green.
Nice.
And yeah. And then of course we get an ornament. So there's a big princess castle in the middle of the tank. So we had a princess tank for the first couple of years until everybody started ignoring the tank and I swapped stuff out.
Nice.
And so we eventually got to more of a natural looking tank. And then I started trying to add plants and stuff and had the hardest time with plants. And that was when I started researching online and started learning information from YouTube, from the community, started getting involved in some of the Facebook groups and the forums. Actually, it was more forums at that time than it was Facebook groups. But I was lurking around the community for a long time before I ever got involved. And every now and then I would comment in a chat, but I really didn't feel like I had a lot to add. So I was more just watching on my phone, or actually I watch more on my television than I do my phone, which makes it hard to chat. But yeah, it was about the time that I'm trying to remember, what was the aquarium expo here in Knoxville called? It was Aquaticon. Thank you. That's what it was. So about the time the store was talking about doing Aquaticon, and we had already started working on the club, I started getting excited about things. So we had Aquaticon, and then the next weekend we had our first swap. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump into this YouTube thing, and I'm going to start playing around with it. So I had a lot of fun with it and have really enjoyed it and really enjoyed the community. And then I did some live streams, and that led to me deciding to start live streaming regular. So I messaged Tanner, who's a friend of mine, and I was like, hey, I was thinking about doing this, and you were the first person I thought of. What do you think about doing it? Because he's very knowledgeable. So I can tell you how not to do things. He's really good about telling you how to do things. And I was like, between the two of us, I can come up with problems. You can come up with solutions. We're a good team. And so we started doing that, and that was a lot of fun. And we did YouTube and live streams pretty hard for almost a couple of years. It was over a year at least. And then life just got busy. Honestly, just kids, schoolwork, sports, all that got busy. Had started having some illnesses in the family. My dad's been sick, so I've been away quite a bit. Honestly, I don't even know when was the last time I put out a proper video, and we try to live stream when we can work it out. So the channel's not had a lot of content lately, but who knows? One of these days, maybe we can get back to doing it regular. We would love to do the live stream. We keep talking about every now and then we'll just randomly message each other about what about this day at this time? Would you be able to do that? And we're trying to find ways to make it work, but it's just not worked for us recently. And Tanner's very busy with MCAST. They're growing too. That's the Music City Aquarium Society.
Yes.
So that started. We started ETAA. And Tanner was involved in the beginning of that and was real excited, except he had just moved to Nashville. And so he was like, I can't believe there's finally a club that I'm excited about and being a part of. And now I've moved away. So we encouraged him to participate as much as possible. Knew he couldn't make it all the time. And he was constantly volunteering. He did presentations. And then he was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start a club in Nashville. So we've had long nights kind of talking about things and, how they do things a little different than we do. And so they found what works for them and we found what works for us. And we kind of consider it like sister clubs because, we were so entangled there at the beginning. We look forward to one day being able to do like a large event together. We talked about maybe doing that and maybe getting in with the group there in Chattanooga and getting in with even Lexington. John's been a big help. Select Pet has been a big help. Oh, there he is. Look at that. He's been a big help with the club when we first got started. We were kind of throwing ideas out there online. He jumped right in and was like, hey, look, I've been a part of a few clubs and I'm currently part of a few clubs. And if you guys need anything, you got any questions, I'll help.
Aww.
He met with us one night and just kind of listened in as we had one of our very first board meetings as we were hashing things out and gave us some pointers and gave us some information. And he's always been supportive. He'll be there the 27th. He's should have 2 tables. He always gets 2 tables. So I expect 2 tables, John,
Yeah.
at the swap. The Aquatic Market. We've renamed it.
I like it.
Yeah, it's cool.
If Floyd will be quiet long enough for me to ask you, he mentioned you had several tanks, and I was going to ask you. I know the video I was watching, you had a mini pond on the deck, and you had a couple of inside tanks. So where are you at now? That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so there are now 6 tanks in the house. I've got a couple of projects going on about probably going to downsize a little bit, honestly, just because we've been so busy. The 70, I have the 75 and a 25 in the living room. They're both community tanks. The 25 was really just kind of out of necessity from bringing stuff in from the pond to winter, and then it stayed. So it's got a number of things going on in it, and it's a fun tank. I enjoy that. It's really different because it's got that really tall water column, but not a lot of space at the bottom. The 75 is, the main part in the living room. It's right there in the middle of the living room, or in a spot where everybody can see it wherever you're at in the living room. And I really enjoy that tank. This over the last little bit, we added a 20 long to my daughter's room. She got a betta, and I was like, let's do a 20 long. I've always wanted a 20 long. We've got the space for it in there. And so it's a planted tank, and it's real nice, like that tank. My oldest daughter ended up with a betta rescue. We had someone who we knew who they weren't taking care of it like they felt like they should, and they wanted to find someone who could give it a home. And my wife was like, no, we don't want that, because they were talking to her. And then she messaged me, and she was like, hey, what do you think about this? And I was like, well, I'm not going to say no. So we brought it in, and honestly, it was in good health. They had done a great job taking care of it. They just weren't paying as much attention to it as they felt it needed. And he's doing well. So we've got that tank. I've got a little tank that I'm just kind of growing some moss in and some stuff. It was supposed to be a shrimp project. I don't know that it's actually going to pan out. I don't know that I'm actually going to do it. So that tank might come down. And then I have a 10-gallon in my bedroom, which is it's currently got some I never can say this right. Gardneri Achilles,
A little killy.
Gardneri Achilles.
Gardner.
Yeah, so that's the main fish in there right now, and a few Corys, of course. I think I got Corys and everything, but the 20-gallon because I keep it a little warm, so I've not put Corys in there. The patio pond, as I like to call it, the patio pond was just a 20-gallon planter that I got at Rural King, and that was real fun. The videos that I did on that, I really enjoyed having that pond. Is a nice little water feature. You know, I made sure it made, you had a little bit of noise coming out of it. And then last year I upgraded it and bought another planter that was probably about, I don't know, is less than 10 gallons, maybe like a 9-gallon planter. And that looked similar, that I pumped water and made it into a bog. I filled it full of lava rock and gravel and planted in it. And so it was like a bog spilling over into the patio pond, and we loved it. It was fabulous. And it didn't cost me much. I mean, I've never really calculated how much it cost me, but $50 was probably all that was in it, including the pump that was in it. That's not true, because I did end up putting solar power on it because of where it was located. So you added that too, but you don't have to do the solar. But that was fun. It did really well. I really enjoyed it this past summer, but this past winter, it got so cold here in Knoxville that it froze solid and busted the 20-gallon. Split it all the way down. So I haven't done anything with it yet. I haven't done anything to replace it. But last year I did add a 50-gallon stock pond that I put in the ground. So that's my current project, and the bog filter is going to go over there and spill into that this summer, as soon as I get an opportunity to get to it.
Nice.
Is that the 50-gallon Rubbermaid? The low,
It is.
big. Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot.
Yeah, I've got to get some shade in it. It currently has some white clouds in it, and I also have some black fire shiners. Is that what they're called? The real dark shiner that has the red mouth. The males have a red mouth and they have red tips. Fire black shiners, something like that. They're gorgeous.
They sound interesting.
I'm thinking about bringing them inside.
Are those a native fish or tropical?
They are. They're a native fish.
Oh, okay.
Do they breed for you?
I don't know yet. So that pond went in last year, and I put them in real late. I did put a trough heater in it for the winter, so that I could winter everything in without worrying about it. As cold as it got, I bought it right before that cold snap hit. And so they've been in there. There's a lot of algae. I did not get it planted last year. So, and it gets too much sun, which is why I'm thinking about bringing those shiners in. They won't like it once it gets too hot. I gotta get some shade over it. But yeah, it's got so much algae and everything. During the winter, I was out there though. I could never see them during the day, but I could go out there at night with a flashlight and get down close and shine in, and I could see them. So
That's cool.
good numbers still in there, but I don't know if they've or when they would start breeding. I think they're just now. I spoke with Derek. Derek with CFI. He's been on our channel a couple of times on live streams and stuff. He works at Conservation Fisheries Incorporated, and we were talking about it yesterday, actually, about them, and he said they should just be coloring up. So it's actually, he was encouraging me. He's like, it actually would be a good time to take them out and get a look at them.
Are they?
Yeah,
Are they all black?
They are, with a little bit of like a silver sheen to them. I'm looking them up too. I'm sure I got that. Fiery black. That's what it is. Fiery black shiner.
The club went over to the fishery once or twice, didn't they, for a tour?
Yeah, so we've kind of partnered with Conservation Fisheries Incorporated. Those of us on the board really fell in love with what they were doing. We didn't know they were in our back door, or our backyard, not our back door. We didn't know they were in our backyard. We found out about them through Derek and found out about the work they do. They are the largest fishery. They are the largest non-game fishery in the United States.
Oh,
So
wow.
they focus on on darters. Well, I mean, just depending on what projects are going on. But it's just a great experience to go and see what they're doing, the work that they're doing with various species. We try to do that in May with our club. We were just talking about it yesterday. We are planning on going the second week in May. We'll get a tour and kind of get caught up on what their current projects are and what they're doing. We've tried to work out some volunteer work, but thankfully, the person that they have in charge of getting volunteers, they've got so many volunteers. They're having a hard time coming up with a project for us. So that's really great to hear. But yeah, that's a great experience, and they do allow those some, like, if somebody wanted to come with us, you could come and see it. For sure, just reach out to us and let us know you'd like to come. And it's really cool just seeing like a fish room on that scale, because that's kind of like what it is. It's a giant fish room. But yeah, they do a great job, and we've learned a lot about live foods through that partnership too. A lot of people in the club are keeping live food cultures, and man, our tanks love that live food.
Whip sent a link, I think, or a picture of the Shiner skipper. Did you get it? It's in our chat, our private chat. Or did you just send it to me, Whip?
I sent it to everybody.
Okay. I don't dare push that many buttons to try and bring it up, but Skipper probably can.
Yeah, I can bring it up.
There it is. No, no.
Yeah, that's them. Now the males will get a lot of red on their face when they really color up, but having it there on the tails.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Big too.
They
Way
are.
bigger than I would have thought.
Now getting back out of this, guys. No, I'm over on a snake auction site. Darn it. There we are. I just bought another snake I didn't need last night. It's coming Tuesday. Y'all were talking about downsizing tanks. I got up to 80 something, and I've got it down to 22, I think, now that actually have fish in them. But I'm putting reptiles and snakes in them. So frying pan to the fire. I was going to ask you too. I know that in one of the videos, one of the blooper videos, you had a little dog on there. Do you still have that little dog, that little nippy Yorkie or whatever?
Yeah, we do. So he's actually running around behind me. He is I call him a designer mutt. He's a Shorkie. So he's part Yorkie, part Shih Tzu. He's just beyond where I could reach him. He's like, nope, not coming. Yeah, we have allergies. So when we decided to get a dog, I had to find something. We don't have a lot of space. We don't have a huge home. So I didn't want to get a big dog. And then we needed something that would work with our allergies. And I happened to come across a couple who had a litter of puppies. And so, yeah, we got him. He's my buddy. I work from home mostly now. And so he hangs out with me all day.
Did you all not see the fish? I'm seeing comments where people said they didn't see it.
I didn't bring it up for you to share yet.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what you were sharing before, but
it was a picture of that fish. It was a link that was about in the private chat behind this screen that we're on.
I can bring it back up. Susie dropped off, I just noticed.
I was being Dan's fish, I guess. No, he's always showing stuff. Oh, look at this. These are, and we're getting these. And about 3 things later, he says, "Oh, I'm not showing it, am I?"
Right. All right, I shared it. It's at the bottom there.
Yeah, now I got these late last year, so I didn't really get to do much with them before winter hit. So I'm really looking forward to spending some time with them this year.
So is this correct then? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that is it. Yep.
Okay.
there's some pictures like they're called fiery black because their mouth gets real red too when the males color up.
Yeah, you can't see it in this picture because his finger's in the way, or his finger. But
Yeah, it's a little bit.
the tail's pretty gorgeous too.
They are. I've seen some really gorgeous photos of them. So real, I mean, it's real tempting to move them over into the tank.
There's a fired up one.
Yep.
One right.
They remind me a little bit of, I can't remember what reservoir they are, but they have an orange mouth and they have tiny, tiny mouths for that size fish. So you have to feed them special diet. Can't remember what they are, but they're not local. They're tropical.
But that person got that one underwater, so I'd say that's pretty close to being fired up right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those, like, they're local to they're local in the sense that they're used to our winter and our summer, but I think they're more of like a Carolina fish. Is where they're from, North and South Carolina.
Oh, okay. So what they probably did was they made their way up.
Yeah, and we're not very far from North Carolina here either. It's right there. Right there. So can you talk a little bit about the ETAA, like when it starts? I know it's the 27th, and is it going to be a fish swap, or how's it going to be run?
Yeah, so it is our fish swap. We got tired of explaining to people what a fish swap was. What was funny, so of our board members, when we formed the ETAA, there were 5 of us initially. And so as we were talking about things, I'm really the newbie of the group. Everybody else is much more experienced in the hobby than I am. And even in clubs, because there have been clubs in Knoxville in the past. So some of those guys had been involved in those clubs. And so they were talking about having a swap. And I was like, do you mean like a swap meet? Is that what we're talking about? And they were like, yeah, that's where it comes from. So I was like, okay, I can understand that. I can get on board. We're having basically a garage sale for fish stuff. And so we did that, and it was very popular. Our very first one had over 100 people come through. And then now we're to the point to where we're busting at the seams at the location we're at. It's just such a great price point to be there that it hurts to move away from it. But I feel like we'll finish it out this year there. We've talked about that on our live streams a few times. But we did name it last year the Aquatic Market. So it's the ETAA Aquatic Market, and people are like, okay, that I can understand that. That makes sense. That seems to need less explanation for most people. But yeah, it's just it's one big room. It's hosted at a Lions Club facility in a park just north of Knoxville. It's a pretty great location, honestly. It's just off of 640, which is the bypass that goes around Knoxville. It's got parking. It's got a lot of parking. The biggest issue is the parking's not right next to it because it's in a park. So you got to kind of walk to and from it. So we encourage people to bring things to tote stuff in and out. Just don't drag your wagon around inside. We ask people. That seems to be a problem. Takes up a lot of space. But yeah, this is the 5th one we've done. It'll be our 3rd spring. The spring does seem to be busier than the fall because we do it twice a year. It's our 2 biggest events of the year that we do currently. And this year we've done a silent auction every year in the past. Well, maybe not every year, but we've done it for a while. But this year we're doing a live auction. It's only going to be a few items, but we're going to give that a try. And hopefully that is popular. And we may try to add an auction to our events next year.
Nice.
What we currently have, I think we only have like 2 spots left for tables. I think we're almost sold out.
How many vendors do you have?
That should put us over. That should put us right at 30. I think we can fit 31 or 32 was the last I heard. So JT McCarty is the treasurer, and this is like his event where he plans all of the tables and keeps all of that stuff straight for us. And he does a great job at that. And so he has he keeps up with the spreadsheets and all of that. But I think we've said 32's max.
There you got an offer from John to stream some.
Yeah, well, I mean, he sells out so quick. He could. About midday, he's complete. His table's getting bare.
There you go.
And John brings a lot, and he's great to talk to. So if you come, definitely stop by and talk with him.
What time did you say it starts?
So the doors will open at 11, and we're going till 5. So this is the first time we've done this length of time. In the past, we were doing. I think we were doing 9 to 2 or something like that in the past. And the feedback we kept getting were people that couldn't get off work early enough to make it. So we tried to push it back a little bit later. And it helps with setup because we have the building. We went ahead and booked the building for the whole day. And so we can start setting up at 8. So we're set up 8 to 11, and then we'll close at 5, and we'll have about an hour. It only takes about an hour to tear everything down and get everything out of there.
Awesome. We've got the links in the chat to the event too, so the directions and all that. And also in the description, they're there also.
Yeah, and so for anyone in the area who's thinking about coming, we have people who travel from all over. We see Chattanooga, Atlanta, some people from the Carolinas frequently. It's really cool, but it's $2 per person at the door. To get in. That's a donation to the club. Kids 12 and under free. And we've not announced it yet, but typically we have like a sticker or something. We give away a vinyl sticker, which is honestly about the cost of that $2. So you get a little something, even if you don't buy anything, and you will if you come. But if you don't buy anything, you get your money's worth of the sticker.
I saw somebody asking about food there as a joke, I think, but seriously, are you going to have food there for people, snacks and stuff?
For those hours, we decided we had to. So we're starting small. We have one food vendor who will be there, and honestly, I don't have the info for that. It was really cool. Like it was, I think we found them through a food truck group, but they are setting up inside. Last I heard, there will be food. And Fountain City, like I said, it's just north of Knoxville. It's a smaller town, but it's got a lot of food options too. So there's a lot of food nearby. And we always give people tickets. So when you come in, if you leave and come back, we welcome that. Come and go all day.
Oh, well, I haven't heard that in a million years. That's where my grandmother was born, Fountain City.
Oh, yeah?
And then moved down here to Athens. Yeah, that was
Okay.
a long time ago.
Well, there's a everybody knows Fountain City by the duck pond. There's a pond there, and that pond's been there for a very long time. And they've really struggled, but they've recently put a lot of plants in it and stuff. And finally, it's working out. It's looking a lot better. But that's adjacent to the park where we're at is the duck pond.
All right, there's the clarification. That's who I thought it was with John making it.
Yeah.
Fish fry would be all right with me, though. Hey.
Oh, the fish fry. You're right. So the Lions Club does host a fish fry. And so we've had people see our sign and think, oh, the fish fry is this weekend and try to come.
Oh, man.
Like, well, you can buy some fish and fry them if you want to, but we're not doing it here.
Oh, my.
That is funny. That's not too far from the zoo then, is it?
No, we're not too far from the zoo. The zoo's a little closer to downtown.
Yeah.
But probably the same distance, just different direction. The zoo is east of downtown, and we're north of downtown.
Right. Okay.
Where the aquatic market is. If you can find I-75 and 640, you can find us. We're in that area.
That's a 8-hour drive for me to go to that.
Oh, it's totally worth it.
Well, I'm sure it is.
Well, what did you do last weekend? 6? So what's
6
another
and a half.
couple hours? Yeah,
I
Steve,
know, right?
you were damn near there.
And you've
Yeah.
got Aquatic Marine and the aquarium to visit. And there's a few other stores that have opened up in the area.
It's about a 2-hour drive from me, I guess. Talking about Chattanooga, that Chattanooga Ed's not going to be there, is he?
I haven't heard from him. I know he's got a lot going on, so I haven't seen. He has been at the majority of them. I don't know if he's been at all of them, but he has been at the majority of them. John's been there. Yeah, I expect Ed to be there, but we'll see.
He he answered. I always post the link to the backstage panel here in our group, and he answered that he was over at his where did you see Skipper? His sisters or somewhere, this family, and that was like at 4 o'clock. And he said, "I'll try to get us home by 8, but they do their family stuff today, so
Yeah,
it's hard sometimes." Worth the drive from PA. There you go, Skipper.
yeah. The zoo's nice too, and then you can go spend the rest of the weekend up in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg type area. It's it's a beautiful part of the country.
It is really.
Well, there's going to be a time where we're going to come down that way as a family trip too. So
Yeah. Let us know. I can definitely give you some pointers of where to go. I love the area, and we like to visit up in that Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Sevierville, all of that. It's great.
she's been there before, but I haven't. I want to go see it.
Have you heard anything? I don't know if it's that time of year or not. Again, now I've forgotten the name of the event that Kenny did last year.
Aquaticon.
Have you heard anything about that?
It was a couple of years ago. Last I heard, he still wants to do it, but I've not heard when. Yeah, no update on Aquaticon.
I can't believe it's been that long. Wow.
2 years, yeah. That was, well, actually, I guess at this point, like it was 2 years ago. It's been longer than 2 years at this point.
Wow.
Because it was the first year of the club. Kenny's been great. He's been so supportive of the club. That first year, he donated a table for the Aquaticon to the club. It was really like our first event. First thing, I mean, we had only met a handful of times. We started in January, and it was in April, so we had only met a handful of times. So that allowed us to get in front of a lot of people and let a lot of people know about the club. And then we, of course, we had a lot of fun there as well, just talking with everybody. And then got us all excited about having a club because we had those back-to-back events. And but yeah, he's been real supportive. He's been a speaker a couple of times now, I think. And he always donates stuff to the club. He has been at, actually, Aquatic Marine has been at the last 3 swaps. The last 3 times we've had this event, they've been there. They get a table and they set up and sell a few things and participate in the giveaways. As a matter of fact, I should say the auction, and I don't have it in front of me. It was really poor planning on my part. But for the auction, he has donated a tank to go into the auction.
Nice.
A new tank, a full setup, if I'm not mistaken. There's a post on Facebook. I could look that up. But yeah, we've got that. And then I received a box from Aquarium Co-op as well for a donation to, it'll either be on the club table or in the auction. So there's a couple of things. And then we have some local people who have, some other local people, because Kenny's local, some other local people who have donated stuff.
Nice.
That's good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to Kenny's, I bet, in a year. It's been a while.
He's looking to get rid of that column tank, and oh man, it tears me up. I love that tank. I hate to see it go.
How big is it?
Big.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, I don't know. It takes a little while to walk around it. Especially when you're staring at it. He's had it. It's been in a number of videos. I'm trying to think of who all. I mean, everybody in the area has had it in videos. It's just a really gorgeous tank. It was posted on Marketplace.
That's the one on the right that has all the clownfish in it. Is that the one?
Yeah, it has. I don't think it has recently, but it's the column tank you can walk around. It's got a lot of cories in it, and just really, it's planted. It's just a fun tank to look at. So that tank that was donated, by Aquatic Marine is a 13.4 gallon peninsula aquarium by is it AIO? AIO Aquarium?
I don't know who that is.
It's an all-in-one aquarium. Hold on, that's not who it's from. It's called an AIO because it's an all-in-one. Tide line. It's a tide line.
I still don't know who that is.
But it does come with the pump and some filtration. So
Nice. Awesome.
And I drifted when you were talking where this is all taking place. Like I'm just trying to get a picture in my mind where.
Yeah.
It's definitely over by Knoxville, right? Or is it over closer to?
Yeah. So
Gatlinburg?
yeah, it is Knoxville. So Henley Street runs through Knoxville. There, right off of 40. If you go north on Henley, it becomes Broadway, and Broadway goes into Fountain City. So we're literally just up the road from the city. If you were coming to the swamp, I'd recommend using I-640, which is the bypass that goes around Knoxville. If you get on 640 and get off at the Broadway exit, you're going to head north on Broadway, or I'm sorry, south on Broadway, and you north on Broadway because we're north of Knoxville. You're going to head north on Broadway, and I don't know the exact mileage, but it's not far at all.
Okay, I was just trying to get an idea because I'm going to be going down. If you know where Cookville is,
Yeah.
I'm going to be just south of there, just north of Ed, in fact, and Bob for that matter. Eventually here, so
yeah,
just
you're
trying to
only
get a feel for where everybody is. What's that?
I was just saying you're only a couple hours.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be too far.
Yeah,
probably more,
Interesting.
going around mountains and stuff to get to you. It's definitely not a straight line anywhere down there.
No, it's not.
I just looked that tank up. It's an interesting tank.
Yeah. I've not seen it in person. I've only seen the information he sent us.
Susie, by the way, had a coughing fit. She messaged. That's where she went.
Yeah, I asked her because I was like, "What happened?"
Well, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, any other questions or comments? We still got it. Looks like about 15 minutes left if we need it.
I did find that tank. It's a 280 gallon glass. It was a reef tank before they made it into a freshwater.
Wow.
So it's probably a little. If it's a column, it's probably similar to what Ed has, right? Only bigger, because Ed's always talking about he's got a 200 gallon.
It's a lot bigger than Ed's. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 80 gallons bigger. So yeah, it'd be considerably. But his is like 4 foot tall. I'm like, how? He said it's 48 inches tall. I ain't no reaching the bottom of that one, even for a tall fella.
Yeah.
Nah, you're gonna be swimming with the fish.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the issues with this tank is the upkeep for a store. It's just a lot of work, and it takes up a really large footprint in the store. So that store's been growing for a number of years now, and I think they're just trying to make the most of their space.
I tell you what, if he can't get rid of it, I'd be talking to some of the aquariums.
Yeah.
You may find out they would take that and turn that into like some sort of jellyfish tank.
Hey, Monica. Monica's got a stand still in the tank still in the packaging. She would let go.
60 gallon cube.
But that's a pretty tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. John was asking. Yeah, that is a cylinder tank there at Aquatic Marine.
Oh, cylinder. Okay.
Is that not what I said?
You said
I thought you said column. So in my mind, it was a big square chimney looking thing.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it is round. It's round all the way around.
I think you said both of them at different times.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Nancy says buy it as a number 7. Yeah. I don't know that I have a room big enough other than just putting it in the middle of the living room. You'd have to watch TV, you'd have to go.
Yeah, I don't think somebody'd be too happy about that.
And I'd have to plumb it to the middle of the room. I don't know. This is getting worse.
Yeah.
If it ain't fitting in my 6-foot-tall basement, I ain't getting it.
Yeah, at least you get a basement.
I don't-
You guys have basements in Tennessee?
We
Either one of
do,
you?
but I don't know how tall it is. I'm thinking it might not fit.
It ain't fitting. That thing's
80 82 inches tall, including the canopy.
stand and all.
Yeah.
That would not fit in my basement.
It's 50 inches across. It's a sight to see. I mean, like, I've seen it in multiple videos, and I'm always like, I get to see that thing whenever I go to my store, whenever I go to the store that I frequent, and it's pretty spectacular. Especially somebody who loves Corey's.
I feel like I was at a fish store somewhere. I've been getting around going to places a lot, and I feel like I've seen one of them before, and it's just, they're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But to put something like that in your house, like,
No.
let's get realistic. My house ain't ever going to have it because I ain't got that kind of money.
Right.
And cleaning it would be such a pain. It's all round.
No,
Kind of like a sports car. If you can afford the car, you don't worry about how much the insurance is. If you can afford the fish tank, you can figure out how to clean it, right?
Right.
I'm getting in.
I mean, yeah.
drain it a little bit and go swimming.
Yeah.
Think about the weight of all that water too.
I know.
Oh,
that's-
far they have not snorkel, but the actual
yeah.
aerator stuff that you can go scuba diving with to do some
Yeah.
of their big ones. Yeah.
6 foot tall. Bob's Paku is what? Bob's Paku is focused on me. Yeah, they got to eat tonight. I've got a bag of, actually a can of nuts sitting right here for them. They're spoiled. They love cashews and well, I can't see the name of it. Anyway, they love the nice nuts, so they've got things sitting here. That's what they're looking at. Even the little pacus that are in there, they're getting bigger. They started eating nuts on their own. They would steal them from the big ones, not when they would crunch them. So
Lumpy Dog says small children clean large fish tanks, free labor.
Yeah.
Get in there, kid.
You'll learn to swim one way or the other.
Yeah.
And make me drop his piranha in there.
Yeah. I have a bag of jelly beans.
remember when Corey got in that, was it 400 and swam around?
I think his is an 800.
800.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Not me. Not me.
Nope.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then we'll go ahead and end up a couple minutes early and have time to get a break before Daniken starts up here. So thank you so much, Mitch. Nice to get an update from you on what's going on. And I'm definitely planning on coming the 27th. If I can get Ed to come especially.
Well,
Of
let's
April,
both
right?
work on him.
All right.
Yeah,
Knowing Ed, he probably forgot.
he has. You know what? I've messaged him every other time, so I've not messaged him yet. I'm going to do that tonight and be like, hey, just so you know, it's the 27th. I'll see you.
Well, I told him in a personal chat too, besides our behind the scenes thing here for Tennessee Fish Mafia. I said you were coming to talk about that, and that's where he actually answered. Oh, that's why Skipper looked at me funny. He didn't answer me in our chat. He answered me personally.
Yeah,
That he
I
was
didn't see it either.
Yeah, he was at his sister's. Yeah, so he knows. All
Boots
right.
and Cats said they paid for the whole hour.
The whole hour. Well, you should have got here on time because we were going and going, you know. So I've got Floyd staring at me, pacing back and forth on the desk on one side and the Paku on the other. So I think I'll not push it and get off here. Thank you, Mitch. We appreciate you so much for coming on.
That's funny.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And it's been a blast anytime. And good to see everybody in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. We need to do a part 2 is what we need to do maybe after the event. See how it went.
Yeah, we can do that. Especially if y'all make it. Skipper, I'm looking forward to seeing you.
I ain't driving 8 hours, man.
Come on, man.
I'll pick you up, Skipper. Don't worry, I'll come by. And
We
guys,
have an airport.
Yeah, I know. I looked that up too.
it's way on the other side of Knoxville.
It's cheaper for me to drive, actually.
Probably. Honestly.
Yeah, right. By the time you're done waiting in line and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Susie, and thank you, Whip, and thank you, Skipper, and thank you,
You're welcome.
mods, and good night, everybody.
Not
Night, everyone.